somewhere in the Yukon Territory of northwestern Canada. It is February. The temperature is minus 42 degrees Celsius. That's so cold. Exposed skin doesn't tingle. It doesn't burn. It just goes numb. And then it dies. A man named Stefan Gatt is alone on a frozen trail. He has been walking non-stop for over 31 hours. He cannot feel his feet. He cannot see more than 5 meters in front of him. The trail markers have vanished beneath the snow. And somewhere behind him, the checkpoint team has lost his GPS signal. This is not a survival accident. This is not a rescue story. This is something Stefan chose to do. He paid money to be here. He trained for years to stand in this exact moment. Because Stefan Gatt is a competitor in the Yukon Arctic Ultra, the single most brutal foot race on planet Earth. And to understand why any human being would do this, you first have to understand what this race actually asks of the human body. Every February, a small group of athletes, never more than 100, gather in Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada. They are about to attempt one of 3 distances: 100 miles, 300 miles, or the full 430-mile route, roughly the distance from London to Edinburgh on foot, through terrain that has killed unprepared people simply by existing inside it. The race follows the historic Yukon Quest dog sled trail, the same trail used in the 1800s during the Klondike Gold Rush, before Gore-Tex, before GPS. Before anything, competitors pull a pulk that's a sled, attached to your body by a harness. It carries your sleeping bag, your food, your emergency gear. It weighs between 10 and 15 kilograms. You pull it for 20, 30, sometimes 40 hours straight, through forest, over frozen lakes, up mountain passes. There are checkpoints every 50 to 100 kilometers where you can rest, eat, and if necessary, withdraw. The record for the full 430-mile route is just under 8 days. 8 days, mostly on foot, in the Arctic, in February. Now you might be thinking, how does a human body survive that? And the honest answer is, sometimes it doesn't. Not completely. Frostbite amputations are not unheard of. Hypothermia evacuations happen every year. And in the 2008 race, the weather turned so violently that race organizers considered a full evacuation of the field. But here's what makes this story genuinely strange, and why I want to take you inside what happens to a living body in these conditions. Because it's not just brutal, it's biologically remarkable. Let's start with a number: 37 degrees Celsius. That is your core body temperature, your heart, your brain, your organs. They all operate inside a window of roughly 1 to 2 degrees above or below that number. Drop your core temperature to 35 degrees, you are clinically hypothermic. Drop it to 32, you begin losing consciousness. Drop it to 28, cardiac arrest becomes likely. At minus 40 outside, the thermal gradient, the gap between your body and the air, is nearly 80 degrees. That is an enormous force trying to steal your heat. Every second, every breath. So how does an endurance athlete survive this? The answer is combustion. When you are moving hard in extreme cold, your body becomes a furnace. Your muscles generate heat as a byproduct of movement. This is called thermogenesis. And in the Yukon, your body runs that furnace at an extraordinary rate. Pause. Here's the number that stops people cold, no pun intended. A Yukon Arctic Ultra competitor burns between 8,000 and 12,000 kilocalories per day. For reference, a regular adult burns around 2,000. An Olympic marathon runner burns around 3,500. These athletes are burning 4 to 6 times the caloric output of a standard marathon runner every single day for up to 8 days. Pause. That energy has to come from somewhere. Fat stores are the primary fuel. Your body mobilizes fatty acids from subcutaneous tissue at a rate it almost never achieves under normal conditions. When fat runs low, it attacks muscle. This is called catabolism. Your body literally consumes itself to keep you moving. Competitors typically lose between 5 and 10 kilograms of body mass over the full race. Not water weight, actual tissue. And then there is the question of extremities. Your body is not stupid. When the thermal threat is severe enough, it makes a decision. Protect the core, sacrifice the edges. Vasoconstriction. The narrowing of blood vessels pulls blood away from your fingers, toes, nose, and ears. This is called peripheral shutdown. It keeps your heart and brain alive, but it leaves your extremities without heat, without circulation, without defense. Frostbite doesn't happen because the cold attacks you from outside. It happens because your own body stops defending those tissues. And by the time you feel it, you usually can't, because the nerves are already frozen. Stefan Gatt is an Austrian mountaineer and extreme endurance athlete. He has summited 8,000-meter peaks without supplemental oxygen. He has completed polar expeditions in both hemispheres. He is, by any reasonable measure, one of the most physically prepared human beings who has ever entered this race. In the early hours of his second day on the 430-mile course, Stefan is somewhere between the Takini River crossing and the first major mountain section. He is ahead of schedule. His gear is working. His feet are intact. He is, by his own account in interviews afterward, feeling good. And then the weather changes. The Yukon does this. Forecast models in this region are notoriously unreliable. The terrain creates its own microclimates, valleys that funnel wind, ridgelines that generate their own cloud systems, frozen rivers that act like highways for cold air. Within 45 minutes, visibility drops to near zero. A ground blizzard, driven snow at surface level, erases the trail. The small orange trail markers, planted every few hundred meters, disappear. Stefan continues forward. This is what he is trained for. He navigates by compass bearing and terrain memory. But the problem isn't navigation. The problem is that when you stop moving in a ground blizzard at -40, the furnace starts to cool. And once the furnace cools, the clock starts running. He cannot see far enough to find shelter. He cannot stop long enough to safely set up his emergency bivouac. Every second he is stationary, his core temperature edges down. He has a choice: keep moving and risk getting further off trail, or stop and fight the cold with everything he has in that sled. He keeps moving. Here's something the race briefings warn every competitor about, but that no briefing can fully prepare you for. Cold kills your thinking before it kills your body. At a core temperature of 35 degrees Celsius, just 2 degrees below normal, cognitive processing slows measurably. Reaction time drops by up to 30%. Working memory, i.e. the mental RAM that helps you solve problems in real time, degrades significantly. At 34 degrees, judgment becomes seriously impaired. People in mild hypothermia have been documented making decisions that, in warmth, they would immediately recognize as dangerous. Paradoxical undressing, moving toward open water, stopping to sleep in the snow. The cruel irony of hypothermia is this: the colder you get, the less able you are to recognize that you need to act differently. It is a trap your own brain sets for itself. Stefan knows this. He has read the research. He has been trained on the symptoms. So in the white noise of the blizzard, when part of his brain says it's fine, just sit down for a minute, he recognizes it. And he keeps moving. This is the skill that separates elite Arctic athletes from those who don't come back. Not physical strength, not gear, not even experience. It is the metacognitive ability, the capacity to think about your own thinking, to recognize when your brain is lying to you because it is running out of heat. Back at the checkpoint, the race director is watching a screen. Every competitor carries a GPS tracker that transmits every 15 minutes. Stefan's last ping was 47 minutes ago. In a race like this, 47 minutes of silence is not a technical glitch. Pause. The checkpoint team has two options. Send a snowmobile out, which risks getting the rescue team lost in the same conditions, or wait and hope the next ping comes. Pause. At 3:17 in the morning, the GPS pings again. Stefan is off trail by approximately 800 meters. He is moving. He is alive. Pause. What happened in those 47 minutes is something Stefan described in a post-race interview. He found a stand of spruce trees dense enough to break the wind. He pulled out his bivouac bag, a thin, reflective emergency shell designed to trap body heat. He did not sleep. Sleeping in those conditions when your core temperature is already under stress is the last thing you do if you want to wake up. He ate. forcing down frozen food his body did not want because calories were the only fuel he had left, and he waited for the blizzard to ease enough to find the trail again. Pause. 31 minutes. He waited 31 minutes. The newts. He waited 31 minutes. Then he got up, shouldered his sled harness, walked back toward where the trail should be, found a marker post, and kept going. Pause. This is what Nirmal Purja talks about when he describes the summit push on K2 in winter, the moment when every rational signal in your body says, stop, go back, this is not survivable. And the counter voice, trained, deliberate, earned through thousands of hours, says, not yet. Stefan Gatt is not in the same league as an 8,000-meter speed record, but in that stand of spruce trees at 3 in the morning, the internal architecture is identical, the willingness to be uncomfortable long enough to still be moving when the storm ends. Stefan Gatt crossed the finish line in Dawson City after 8 days, 4 hours, and 22 minutes. He had frostbite on 3 toes. He had lost 7 kilograms of body mass. He had not slept more than 90 minutes consecutively in over a week. Pose. The medical team at the finish documented what they always see: cortisol levels severely elevated, testosterone suppressed, the body's signal that it has been pushed below the threshold of normal hormonal function, immune system transiently compromised, the same post-race immune dip seen in marathon runners, amplified by a factor of magnitude. Pause. And yet, within 48 hours, most competitors are eating normally. Within a week, most are walking without pain. Within a month, the majority of physiological markers have returned to baseline. The human body, given nutrition, warmth, and rest, recovers from this. That fact alone should stop you for a moment. Pause. We carry encoded in our biology a recovery mechanism that can rebuild from near destruction. The same systems that nearly failed in that blizzard are the same systems that, given the right conditions, quietly, efficiently put themselves back together. You are not fragile. You are remarkably, absurdly, almost unreasonably durable. The race doesn't teach you that. It just shows you what was already there. Every year, people ask the same question about this race. Why? Why would anyone travel to one of the most remote, coldest corners of the continent, voluntarily strap themselves to a sled, and walk until they break or finish? Pause. The athletes who have done it give many answers: personal challenge, grief, curiosity, competition, the need to know where their limit actually is, rather than where they imagine it to be. Pause. But there's a quieter answer underneath all of those, one that comes through in the writing of the athletes who've done it more than once. Pause. In a world where almost every discomfort is optional, where almost every inconvenience is temporary, where warmth and food and shelter are, for many of us, never more than a few minutes away, there is something profound about placing yourself in a situation where none of that is true, where the cold is real, where the distance is real, where the only thing standing between you and a very bad outcome is you, your legs, your judgment, your ability to keep moving when everything in you wants to stop. Pause. Stefan Gatt didn't go back to Whitehorse because the Yukon is beautiful, though it is. He went back because out there, in the white silence at -40, he found out exactly what he was made of. Pause. And the answer was more than he knew.